Welcome to episode 26 of Go Low Like a Pro, coming to you from my flat and my garden because I am self-isolating. It has worked out well though, because episode 26 is the halfway point in the challenge, and so it's a good time to take stock. I should say that that snippet was filmed after I finished self-isolating, and that I threw it in there because it has been mentioned that the episodes haven't had enough silly nonsense recently. It's all just been golf, which is fair enough. I was playing a lot of nice new courses and I want you guys to see them all in all their glory rather than just seeing the odd hole here and there. But I will add in some more silly nonsense as and when I can.
So tell us, David, in reflection, how have you found the first 6 months of Go Low Like a Pro?
Well, in reflection, I feel that the jokes have stayed at a consistently terrible level, but they still amuse me, so I keep putting them in.
In all seriousness though, I can't believe it's been 6 months, and most importantly, so I'll say this first, I'm still enjoying it. It gives me something to do, and completing an episode gives me a great sense of accomplishment. It's just the amount of time and work to get to that point that's the real killer, and a week has never seemed so short when on a Friday you know you've got 7 days to do it all again.
That said, I hope you guys are still enjoying it. There has been a drop off in the number of people watching, which obviously I would have hoped for the opposite, but I'm very thankful to all of you who are still watching. There does seem to be a core group that watches it week in, week out, and I am very grateful for that. Now, one thing that's been suggested as a possible reason for the drop-off is my lack of results so far. Obviously, the whole point of the challenge is to smash my handicap, and after 6 months it has come down by 0.4. So, let's have a look at all things handicap. This is the graph we've been using so far. Again, it's a good visual aid for anyone who hasn't got to grips with the new system yet. Now, the points in grey are previous scores, no longer in my most recent 20, and are therefore not counters. I'm just keeping them there to chart the overall progress. The points in white are non-counters in my most recent 20, and the yellows are my counters. Those scores have led to the following movement in my handicap, going up to 12.2 before going down to 11.7, then back up to 12.2 before down to 11.6. It's fair to say still hovering around the 12 mark. Now, we haven't used this system before, so I don't know if it will be easier or harder to get my handicap down as a result. My dad had a good score the other day and only came down 0.5, whereas with the old system he's sure it would have been 2 or maybe even 3 shots. Sorry Paul, that just must be down to the average of your good rounds, not just down to your good rounds. This is a similar graph to the first one, but the timeline on the x-axis has been reversed so that the 13.2 point on the far right of the graph, which is my most recent score differential, is now labelled as 1 instead of 20, and I've got rid of the older rounds, so this is just my 20 most recent, and you can see that a lot of my counters are near the end of that 20, which means that if I don't shoot a score differential of 12.0 or better in my next 2 rounds, my handicap will go up. The round after that is an 11.1, my third best, so if I don't match that or better, my handicap will go up again. Now, I'm aware that will probably be the case, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up as I know that you're all hoping for better results. I'm just going to say 3 quick things about that. Firstly, do you see round 3, my 8.8 score differential and my best one to date? Well, that was a round at Falkirk Golf Club just after the Kingsbarns and Dumbarnie trip. Now, not only was I playing well at that point, but I knew I wasn't going to use the footage because I was going to show you the rounds from Dumbarnie and Kingsbarns. So I didn't bother filming it. Now, I'm not making excuses here, but filming is not only a lot of work, but it also splits my focus between the golf and the channel. And on this occasion, you could argue that the golf benefited from not having it filmed. So in future, I am going to play a few more rounds that I don't film at all. Secondly, just for reference, when I played Kingsbarns, I spoke to the starter up there, who I think was also a pro, and he was telling me that 2 weeks before, when Rick Shields had played it, he had a team of 8 other people helping him film it.
Now, I am not comparing my golf or my channel to Rick Shields. I'm just letting you have some idea as to the amount of work that goes into creating these videos. Mummy! And the third thing that I wanted to say is that although the results aren't necessarily showing you, I am doing a lot of work. It's maybe not as much as I would have liked or how much I've alluded to in the past, but I've always been very honest about that. But I have been putting in the practice, I have been playing a lot of golf, I have improved my swing, and I am making progress. Now, a lot of that might be sort of behind the scenes work, but I am very confident that in the next couple of months we're going to see some real results. So I'm not too worried if I go up a little bit before I come down a lot more. So rather than me just waffling on about how the front nine of Go Low Like a Pro has gone, instead I'm going to tell you my top 10 takeaways from the last 6 months. All the things that I've learned which I feel have really benefited my golf. Now, these aren't in any sort of qualitative order, but counting down from 10 seems a bit more dramatic and a bit more, you know, rocket launch rather than counting up to 10, which is more impressive 2-year-old. Starting at least in some semblance of chronological order, the first takeaway from 6 months of Go Low Like a Pro is my putting setup. Now, this was all covered in the first few weeks of the show, from the grip to the Inigo Montoya, the 45-degree angle, and it has become the bedrock of my putting ever since. Now, I've never had a putting setup or routine like this before, and it has been massive in terms of improving my putting, my confidence on the course, and my scoring. Number 9, continuation of a theme, still on putting. So after we've done the setup comes the stroke. Now, I've had a lot of different ideas and thoughts that have made it into the notes section on my phone, but the main one for me has been tightening my grip. Now, I know that a lot of you have been told to do the complete opposite, but for me, tightening my grip allows me more control of the putter head, so I can bring it back square to the ball and start the ball on line. The third and last takeaway regarding putting is a smooshing together of a couple of ideas. The first one being Phil Kenyon's green reading tip, using an imaginary hole 2/3 of the way to the real hole. Now, you use that to set up your line and weight, the idea being that you putt through the imaginary hole to the real hole. I think we covered this in February maybe, so episodes 5 to 8, something like that. The second being that all putts are straight. I love this, all putts are straight. You pick your line, you set up on that line, and all you have to do is hit it the desired weight. Now, these two things have been absolutely humongous for me, quieting out that mental noise when I'm on the putting green and really improving my putting. Now, this possibly would be number 1 if we were doing it in a qualitative way. Yoga is so important to my golf. If you've been watching from the start, you'll know that I've done a few different stretching protocols or physical workouts and such. And even now, while I'm enjoying the Dynamic Golfers program, I still think I'm going to reintroduce yoga because it is absolutely key for me in having a free, easy, pain-free, agile swing. I'm not getting any younger, I've got injuries, and yoga is the best thing, not just for my general mobility, but for my golf swing. So this takeaway is about before you initiate your takeaway. I've done a lot of work with Jane on my setup, whether it's weight too far forward, weight too far back, hand positioning, or the right amount of knee bend. And this one is all about being comfortable with your setup. Now, too often I've not been comfortable with my setup, but I will just swing anyway. And more often than not, I'm not happy with the results. So if I'm not feeling comfortable, I'm trying to just step away, maybe hit another practice swing, and then get comfortable in my setup before I take the club away. The next few are all swing thoughts and are sometimes made up of what I will call subsection swing thoughts. Because although the plan is just to have one at a time, it rarely works out that way. I mean, in this instance, the two thoughts are very similar. They're practically the same, but not quite. They are hands to target, which goes back to Big Phil's Secrets of the Short Game, which again was from very early on in our journey. And the other one is that I like to imagine throwing a ball with my right hand. Now that gives me a really good sense of feel for the weight or the strength of the shot. Now predominantly I use this for chipping, but I do also use it for pitching and sometimes half wedge shots too, and it really does give me a really good feel for throwing it up and landing the ball where I want it. This is a recent swing thought that has been really great and has already produced some excellent results. My iron striking has massively improved of late, and I don't just mean the last month or so, I'm talking about the last week or so. And part of that is due to this one swing thought: swing like a wedge. Now, I've noticed that I swing my wedges differently to how I would swing a longer iron. When I'm swinging with a wedge, it tends to be much easier, much smoother. I don't try and kill it. I allow the club head to do the work. I'm not trying to add in any extra power, and I'm not putting in any extra effort. So now, regardless of the club I have in hand, even if it's my 5-iron, I'm trying to think to myself, swing like a wedge. Oh, and the subsection swing thought for this is to hit down on the ball so that the club is making contact with the ground after the ball. Carrying on from that, I've never really been a golfer that takes a divot, certainly not a big one and not consistently. However, in the past couple of weeks, I have been taking bigger divots and very consistently. Now that's also gone hand in hand with my vastly improved ball striking. Now another reason that I think that may be the case is this takeaway: hip to target. Now, I don't know exactly what the swing mechanics are, but certainly on the follow through, it feels like I'm taking my hip towards the target. That may well be helping with weight transfer, I do not know. But what I do know is that my ball flight has been much lower, much straighter, more penetrating, and quite often longer. And that by thinking hip to target, I've been able to replicate it. So that could be a real game changer in the next 6 months. You've heard me talking about this one quite a lot. It's my number one swing thought. It's what saved me at Kingsbarns, and it is a massive reason why I've been playing a lot better of late. Rotate around your spine. Now, this one swing thought has stopped me from getting my body out of alignment. It's stopped me from swaying. It's stopped me from overswinging as much. And it's been brilliant for keeping the club on the same plane and for bringing it back far more consistently square and on the right path to the ball. So if I do find that I'm not playing as well, or I've started leaking shots right or left, it's the first thing I think of, and more often than not, it's a fairly easy, quick fix. This is without doubt the most important takeaway in not only the last 6 months, but the last 15 years. And while it's another terrible joke, anyone that knows me will know how true that is and just how much I love that place. But as it's not golf related, I will throw in one more quick one, and it's to do with course management. I only realised this recently when I was playing the next round of the knockout foursomes with Max, and I thought to myself, all I want for my partner in an alternate shot competition is to not put me in trouble so that I have a shot. And likewise, the last thing I want to do is to put my partner in trouble. Distance is far less important and accuracy is key. And then I just thought, what if I thought that way and played that way when I was partnering myself? Now that really is something to think about. Now I feel I should remind you about the competition that I haven't mentioned in a very long time. Guess my final handicap correctly and you can win the 4-ball at Kingsfield, and 2 new prizes: a copy of Dominic Holland's book, Open Links, kindly donated by Dom, sadly we never got that interview into the show, and a 4-ball at White Green Golf Club, kindly donated by George, the sales manager there. I hope to keep adding prizes, so keep getting your guesses in if you haven't already for a chance to win. I'm still on these, and I still have and appreciate any support on this. And if you do like the videos, please click like, comment and share. And if you want to be part of or share the journey with others, click subscribe and ding the wee bell. Now, after I sign off, I'm going to leave you with a movie montage of some of the more interesting moments of the first 6 months.
Well, I'm afraid that is our time for today. So until next time, be good. And if you can't, shout 4. Because all you want is to go low.
Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Go Low Like a Pro. I did make this though.
Well, you know, maybe...
You are as a sort of a mid-handicap player.
The guide my soul.
Please forgive 5 reps, then increase to 10 reps, and then 20. We got it off, actually. Or we could shank it. A week or two, really check in with myself, and obviously
People keep asking if I'm back. That's when you do this. I'm here live, not a cat. Oh, I'll just close it.
hey, filming it! Yeah, filming it!
This will do nicely.
Now,
Pneumonia.
yeah, probably not. That's what the line was.
1,000 hours worth of putting practice at Dancing David's done. He chokes a 2-footer. It makes me smile.
Excellent excrement.
13, which is a constant number.
Back there. There you go.
Okay.
In.
Till then, beeth good, and if thou canst, shouteth 4. I'm really hoping that you're short, Nintendo, but you never know. Carry distance, swing speed, ball speed, heel per second.
You're also a hell of a golfer, apparently. A golf fan, you like to have a Gilroy.
So first things first, yes, it is an awesome outfit. Well, we are in Scotland. Luckily, it was the 18th. Welcome to part 2 of episode 15. Welcome to episode 16 of Go Low Like a Pro.
Right, a couple more with the iron.
60 into the wind.
Welcome to episode 21. Oh, the graphics up, that's bad news. Here we go. Go on. Yes! Well done.
Yes, there you go.
Boom! Guess who's back? Davey's back.
And the more shots I play, the more holes I play, I go.
That's not wise.
Da, 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 da.
Cough, 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 cough.